This is the true story of a clash between two cultures, the people of Oregon against the followers of a religious leader from India, and about the confluence of events that led me to become involved in the first bioterrorism attack in the history of the United States. My brother Frank and I were traveling around the state of Oregon giving seminars to other tax professionals. I would stand in front of them for 8 hours talking about the new tax laws. We left Portland, Oregon in the morning and stopped in the Dalles for lunch. My brother had a sandwich and I had the salad bar. We were in Pendleton, Oregon the next day, and I was having nausea, headache, and severe intestinal distress. My brother pleaded with me not to do the seminar, but I didn't want to give all those people their money back, so I decided to do it anyway. It was not the least bit of fun, I'll tell you, but we got through it somehow. We didn't think too much about my getting sick until quite a long time later, until we found out all the facts. Here's what happened. An Indian guru named Bhagwan Rajneesh had developed a sizable following in India. In 1981, 3 years before I got sick, he wanted to spread out by gaining a new, bigger base of followers. He was unable to find a location large enough overseas, so he came to the United States and bought a 64,000-acre ranch called the Big Muddy in eastern Oregon, which is really desert country. They renamed the ranch Rajneeshpuram. During the next few years, they worked hard until they converted that desert land into a virtual oasis. At one time, the compound housed up to 7,000 disciples. The Rajneesh didn't exactly take a vow of poverty, though. At one point, he had 99 Rolls Royces, all custom painted. They built a high wall around the ranch. It was rumored that the wall was heavily guarded and that there was a big stash of weapons on the grounds. This did not make the Oregonians happy, and there were movements to have the Rajneeshis run out of town. The Rajneeshis, as they came to be known, decided they were too vulnerable and needed to spread their sphere of influence by running an actual town that was recognized by the state. To accomplish this, some of them moved into the nearby town of Antelope, Oregon, that previously had a population of 40. It didn't take many Rajneeshis to make a majority there, only 41. So they elected themselves to the city council and the school board. Then they changed the name from Antelope to Rajneesh. That didn't make the Oregonians happy either. State officials were not quiet about the fact that they really wanted to expel the Rajneeshis, which many Oregonians had come to consider a wild and unwelcome cult. The outrage was spreading. Things were getting very tense between the citizens and the Rajneeshis. The Rajneeshis decided that they need to get a better foothold in order to gain control, and to do that, they needed to take over the entire county rather than just the city of Rajneesh. If taking over the county was successful, they would go after the whole state. They started busing homeless people from San Francisco and New York City to Portland. They got the ones who could register to vote to do that, and then told them how to vote. The Oregonians really didn't like that. The plan got so much publicity that the Rajneeshis decided to back off. Most of the people they bussed in ended up homeless on the streets of Portland. The Rajneeshis decided that they needed to go into their next phase that might work: poison. The idea was that they would put salmonella in the water supply, and that would make so many people sick that they wouldn't be able to vote, and that would put the Rajneeshis in the majority when it came to voting. They decided to test the bacteria and went to a number of restaurants in the Dalles, Oregon. They put the bacteria in salt shakers, on sugar, and in coffee creamer containers. They also sprinkled it on salad bars. That's what got me. The test was too successful. So many got sick that it aroused suspicion, and the Rajneeshis had to back off on the poison the water supply tactic. Although there was a lot of publicity about the Rajneeshis, the poisoning really didn't get too much press coverage. Both the authorities and the press thought that if they pressed it too much, the citizens of Oregon, who don't like to be pushed around and have lots of guns, would actually stand up against and maybe even start a war with the Rajneeshis. And the press and authorities really did not want that to happen. Instead, the news went out that blamed restaurant employees being sick and contagious and spreading the disease, the illness, which made absolutely no sense whatsoever. It was too widespread, and way too many people got sick for that to be true. By now, both the state and federal governments wanted the Rajneesh out of the country as soon as possible. A year or so later, they had him deported on a technicality regarding his visa. The authorities found quantities of salmonella bacteria in the compound, and it became clear what really caused the illness of all those people. It was then that Frank and I finally found out what had made me sick more than a year earlier. This and other nefarious goings-on caused some of the group leaders to go to jail for a few years. The authorities said that they found no hard evidence linking the Rajneesh himself to the poisonings. The Rajneesh went back to India after being turned down by 21 other countries. He changed his name to Osho Rajneesh, which is a Buddhist term meaning on whom the heavens shower flowers. He continued his teachings until he died in 1990 at age 58. Even though he's gone from the physical world, he is still well known, mainly simply as Osho. There's a lot about him on the web. Much of it ignores or downplays his stint in Oregon, however. After the Rajneesh was removed from the compound, everyone else left. Rajneeshpuram became a ghost town. The town of Rajneesh changed its name back to Antelope. Things had gotten pretty tense, but a showdown at the Big Muddy Ranch between the believers and the Oregonians was averted. The Oregonians could cool off and hang up their guns, at least for a while. As for me, next time I'll have the sandwich.